Hello everyone. After reading the article, 30 interview questions you probably shouldn't ask, I think that the main takeaway is that employees still need important information about job candidates, but they need to gather that information in a way that is legal, ethical, and focused on job performance rather than just personal characteristics. Even with all the alternative questions provided in this article, I think there are still some things that interviewers need to know. For example, employers need to know whether a candidate is dependable, if they're able to work well with others, if they're able to be a team player, if they're capable of handling stress, and if they are genuinely interested in this position or if it is just another job for them. These qualities are important because they directly affect how successful an employee will be in the workplace. One way to gather this sort of information is through more behavioral interview questions. Instead of asking personal questions, employers can ask candidates to describe situations that they have faced in previous jobs, just to make it a little bit more personal and for them to be able to lean on things and situations that they've personally been in the past. For example, an interviewer may ask, tell me about a time that you had to deal with a difficult coworker, or describe a situation where you had to meet a challenging deadline. Questions like these, as opposed to personal information, allow employers to learn about a candidate's problem-solving abilities, communication skills, and work ethic without crossing any sort of personal boundaries. Another way employers can gather information is through reference checks, skills assessments, and other job simulations. These methods provide direct evidence of a candidate's abilities and are often more reliable than personal questions. For example, if a company would like to know, a company or school would like to know whether someone can perform a specific task, having them demonstrate that skill is more effective than simply asking them about their background or directly asking them if they can do this task. Because anyone's response in an interview when they're trying to get the job is, yes, I can do that task. But having them actually do it can prove that. I do think that there's an ethical issue when it comes to tricky questions during an interview. On one hand, some employers may use tricky questions to see how a candidate might think under pressure or how they react under unexpected situations. However, there's a fine line between evaluating a candidate and attempting to manipulate or mislead them. The biggest ethical concern is fairness. If interviewers intentionally ask confusing questions or try to trick applicants into revealing personal information, they may create an unfair hiring process. Candidates should be evaluated based on their qualifications, their skills, and their ability to perform the job, not on information about their age, their religion, their family status, their disability, or other protected characteristics. I also believe that trust is an important part of the hiring process. Interviewers should feel this two-way relationship and conversation where both the employer and the candidate are trying to determine whether this is a good fit for them, if this position is going to work. If an interviewer relies heavily on deceptive or misleading questions, it can damage that trust before the employee has even been hired. Overall, I agree with the article's message that employers can usually obtain the information they need without asking inappropriate or personally discriminating questions. The best interview question to focus on that I think are job-related skills, experience, availability, and performance. By doing so, the employer, the school, can make better hiring decisions, and while also treating the candidates fairly and respectfully. And in my opinion, that approach is not only legally safer, but more ethical and professional to get the job done. Thank you.